Picture this. You are carrying 15 kilos of luggage through the airport. No wheels, just your arms, your back, and 500 meters of terminal ahead of you. Until the 1980s, this was completely normal. The modern rolling suitcase, the one we all take for granted today, was invented in 1987. That is almost 5,000 years after the invention of the wheel. And even then, it took years for people to accept it. Watt-hour see? Because apparently rolling your luggage made you look weak. We are serious. Let us explain. Let us go back to the 1960s and 70s. Air travel is becoming popular, but luggage, it was still stuck in the Victorian era. Your average suitcase was made of thick leather or rigid hard-shell materials. Empty, it weighed 8 to 12 kilos. Fully packed? It was often over 25 kilos. That is the weight of a small child you are hauling through a crowded train station. And here's the kicker. Airports were getting bigger. Terminals stretched hundreds of meters, but travelers only had two options. Option 1, carry everything yourself, back pain included. Option 2, hire a porter, but porters cost money, and they were not always available. So, most people just suffered. We researched data from that era showing that up to 20% of travelers experienced back pain related to their luggage. We just accepted it. We told ourselves that was simply the price of travel, but the solution was right there the whole time. In 1970, a man named Bernard Sadow had a brilliant idea. He attached 4 wheels to a suitcase and added a strap to pull it. He filed the patent, and it seemed like a revolution was beginning. Except nobody wanted it. He pitched it to major department stores and was rejected. Managers told him that people did not want to pull their luggage like a cart. Finally, in 1972, a major retailer took a chance. They sold around 50,000 to 100,000 units over the next few years. That sounds successful, but the idea never truly exploded. Watt-hour see was that. There were 3 main reasons. First, the design was clunky. 4 wheels meant the bag often tipped over, and pulling it with a strap was awkward. Second, there was a massive social stigma. Men especially refused to use them. Being seen pulling luggage was perceived as looking weak or unmanly. And third, porters still existed. If you could afford to travel, you often expected someone else to do the heavy lifting. Sadow's invention was ahead of its time, but society barely cared. Let us talk about the real reason innovation stalled: rigid gender roles and status anxiety. In the 1970s and 80s, carrying your own luggage was seen as a display of strength and independence. Rolling it, that was seen as something only for women, the elderly, or someone who could not handle the weight. There are even accounts suggesting that business executives would rather risk a back injury than be seen pulling a suitcase through an airport. This was not just about masculinity, it was about status. If you were important, someone else carried your bags. If you rolled them yourself, you looked low status. The technology existed, but the culture was not ready. Until one person changed everything. Fast forward to the late 1980s. Something massive happens. Airline deregulation. Flight prices plummeted and passenger numbers doubled. Suddenly, millions more people are flying. Airports expanded, terminals got longer, and walking distances tripled. The old system of porters for everyone collapsed under the sheer volume of travelers. Right into this chaos steps a Northwest Airlines pilot named Bob Plath. He did not set out to revolutionize travel. He just wanted to stop wrecking his back. As a pilot, he was constantly dragging luggage through airports. So in 1987, he built something in his garage, a vertical suitcase with 2 wheels on the bottom and a rigid, telescoping handle on top. It was simple, but it was genius. Unlike the older 4-wheel designs, this 2-wheel system was stable. You pulled it upright behind you like an obedient dog. He called it the Rollaboard. At first, he only made them for himself and his colleagues, but word spread quickly. Flight attendants wanted them, and then passengers started asking where they could buy one. By 1989, Plath founded a company and started selling commercially. This time, it worked perfectly. Watt-hour see? Because the design was stable and durable. Because airports were packed and people were desperate. But most importantly, the stigma was cracking. Flight crews were the epitome of travel professionalism. Watt-hour sin people saw pilots using them. It made the rolling suitcase look smart rather than weak. Suddenly, rolling your suitcase did not make you look soft. It made you look like an expert traveler. The numbers speak for themselves. In 1990, the company sold 200,000 units. By 1995, every major competitor was flooding the market. By the year 2000, analysts estimated that nearly half of all luggage sold had wheels. Today, it is almost impossible to find a suitcase without them. But the crazy part is how fast this happened. If you were born before 1980, you likely remember a world where rolling luggage was a strange sight. If you were born after 1990, you have never known anything else. One simple innovation changed how billions of people move across the planet. But we should be honest about the cost of this progress. Old leather suitcases often lasted 30 years. People had one suitcase for their entire lives. Modern rolling suitcases have an average lifespan of just 3 to 5 years. We researched modern waste statistics, and it is estimated that 50 million suitcases end up in landfills every year. We made travel easier, but we also made it more disposable. If this bit of history surprised you, consider interacting with this video and telling us about your own luggage disasters. We read every single comment. What hours that is the takeaway here? Sometimes the best innovations are not the most complicated. The rolling suitcase is just a wheel plus a handle. It shows us that the biggest barriers to innovation are often not technical, they are social. It did not take a genius scientist to combine wheels and bags. It took someone willing to look a little bit ridiculous. Bob Plath was laughed at, and now you cannot find an airport terminal without his invention. Next time you are gliding through an airport, remember that this obvious invention is actually younger than the television show The Simpsons. Perhaps the next obvious thing we are missing is your idea. You just have to be willing to look a little weird first. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep rolling.